I have some breaking news. It's news for an upcoming event, and Jesse has no idea what I'm about to say. I got a DM from the world's famous reporter, James Lynch. This is how I found out about this. There is going to be an MMA Holes meetup in July. There is going to be Conor McGregor fighting July. International Fight Week. Seems like that's what's happening here. What I'm about to tell you is going to make your head explode, or are you going to be like, who cares? July 10th, UFC Expo was supposed to go down. But in 2026, for the first time in years, the UFC is not doing the Expo for International Fight Week. It's not happening. Oh, no. Not happening. Now, you might ask, well, why is this such a big deal? One, they have Radio Row. They have all the fighter interviews. It's a huge fan interaction thing that happens before the big International Fight Week fight. Conor McGregor's coming back, looks like, against Max Holloway. They're stacking up this card. This is after the White House card. It's a big deal. But they've canceled it for the first time in years. And James Lynch said this. Now, you may say, okay, well, why does this bother you so much? I was literally going to do the meetup that day. That day, we were going to just take over. I had people buying plane tickets, airfare, the hotel rooms, whatever. The drugs, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing the alcohol, whatever. It's a big party. Everyone's spending all their money. I got my ticket. All the other people outside of my community probably bought tickets. Hey, it's happening. It's July 10th. It's going down, blah, blah, blah. This is exciting. It's been happening for the last God knows how many years. Media have been buying their tickets for this, trying to be there for International Fight Week so they could have their booth set up for the big fights that are going to go down on July 11th. Most likely Conor McGregor, right? But this year, there will be no UFC Expo at one of the biggest convention centers, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's not going to happen. Now, when I heard this information, I was very upset. One, because I'm like, well, where am I going to meet up with these psychos? And two, am I going to die? But anyway, no. The first thing I thought of, and it turned out to be true, is the White House card. They're putting all their eggs in this basket with the White House card, right? Like they're basically having a fight week that's happening over there, free for the fans. They're spending a lot of money. They're putting up this big claw. So maybe they're just pumping so much money into this White House card that there's nothing they could do about this. Two, maybe they got to pay Conor McGregor, right? Conor McGregor needs a big bag of money to come back. So maybe, hey, we're flipping the bill for this White House card and Conor McGregor coming back. We got to pay this guy. Yeah. Or three, Conor McGregor's not coming back. And the card looks like it's going to be decent, but they're not too sure if this is going to be a card that they want it to be. Maybe they can't lock in Conor McGregor, and an International Fight Week wouldn't work. The Expo wouldn't work because there's no juice for July 11th. There's a whole bunch of things floating around in my head, but I want to get your thoughts on this. International Fight Week Expo canceled.
You have people in your community that I think you just said that they've purchased plane tickets, right?
Correct. From what I know, I did a poll. I said, and 40 people in this poll, and this was an early poll that we did, said yes, they're going. So 40 people, right, are going to be making plans to go to this expo to meet up with yours truly, of course. It's not about fighters or anything like that. They all want to see me.
Wonderful.
Maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, they have plans to go to Las Vegas, party, and have a good time. But it's not just that. Like I said before, I mean, fans just tune in they want to go to International Fight Week. There are fans that have been going every single year to meet fighters, to see whatever the hell is going on. They have like haircuts and promotional things all over the place. It's a fully interactive fan experience. And they're just yanking that away this year And most likely it's because of the White House, but it could be because of multiple reasons.
That doesn't make any sense. Like for this, it's such a big, like that's part of what makes it a big deal. And are they even going to be public about it? Are they supposed to give some kind of reason at some point?
So I looked at the UFC website. So I'm going to throw it out there. James Lynch, I even asked him, like, can I say, you're the one, James Lynch is the one that gave me this information. I'm glad he did, because now I have to, make other plans. I might actually have to hire the midget security that I was thinking about. Anyway, but
are you still going then?
I have tickets. Yeah, I mean, I have the rooms. I can't refund them. Yeah.
Oh, so this people watching right now may be confused up to this point.
Yeah.
You're still gonna be there, you're still wanting to meet up
because people spent money on the airfare, the hotels that they can't refund. I gotta go. I even told my wife, I was like, should we just make this a family trip? We just hang with the family, we get away. That wouldn't be right, because people spent their hard-earned money to hang out, and to meet up. So I have to show, and I have to figure out what we're gonna do, and I will. I'll make adjustments. I've already been speaking to people, behind the scenes to try to figure out like what we're gonna do about this. But it's bigger than that, right? It's the media. Like, for instance, James, he has his tickets. Like, he's going, and there's gonna be no table, no radio row. All the interviews, the content they got with the fighters, it's just gonna be another fight week where they show up. And all the media is going to be getting the exact same content as each other. Think about it. Anytime there's a fight week, they're all recording the same shit, the same, the interviews, the media scrums. Everyone is just carbon copying everyone else's homework and then putting it out there on their social media, promoting the event, right? At least with International Fight Week, for instance, James Lynch, he goes there, he plays video games with the fighters. He's trying to do different things to get different types of content. Helps the UFC, helps him. Everything works out. It's worth the plane ticket. A lot of these media members have to flip their own, like they have to pay for their own airfare, pay for their own hotels. And then in return, whatever outlet they're working for will say, well, here's access to everything. So a lot of these media members, I've talked to a couple others, their trip is booked. And now without Radio Row, without the media being able to sit there and have these exclusive interviews and do these certain extra things that make it worth it for International Fight Week, they're literally going to International Fight Week to do the exact same thing as they would do in an Apex card. Crazy.
I wonder if, because this year, I mean, I know she's been around, gosh, maybe a few years now. I feel like it flew by. But I feel like this year, something was different with streaming, with like Nina Chama and people like Neon and Aiden Ross. One of the first things that I think of is, what if they're like, we don't need this. We don't need all the people coming out. We don't need to have the interviewers. We're going to have a Neon stream and millions of people are going to see this on Kick. We don't need to pay security. We don't need to have this venue. We don't need to set up these tables. We don't need to do Dana White's homies with Aiden Ross. He'll just have them. I don't know. Maybe I wonder if it seems like a big, weird deal that they would do something like this without having something in mind like, oh, that's much better. Because this is the first year. Also, there's some firsts here. This is the first year where they're doing this with Paramount. Mm-hmm. Paramount being in the loop. So maybe Paramount's like, what the heck? You guys know everything's going toward media. Why are you setting up a bunch of tables and cloths out here like if it's a potluck? Everything is about online and social media. So maybe they're just prioritizing that.
Yeah, it is very straight. You make a good point with the Paramount being. This is the first year Paramount's involved, and they're not doing International Fight Week. Now I'm gonna ask around with the media and find out how many times have they been doing International Fight Week, because I know James has said he's been there for every single one of them, and we're talking multiple years they've been doing this, right? And it's just progressively gotten bigger and bigger. I was watching YouTube videos. You can go on YouTube and watch these videos of people just walking around with their cameras, either live streaming or just videoing the experience, and it's a blast. Like, the fans genuinely love this. They get to interact with the fighters, and there's just so much to do there, panels and whatever. And to yank this is I think is a massive misplay by the UFC, especially when they're getting all this harsh criticism by the fans. Now, I still like the product, this and that. I'm excited about the White House card, but it makes me feel different about the White House card now. Think about those people that are like, you know what? I'm not tuning into this because of whatever my political beliefs are. I'm out. You know, those Karens out there, the Luke Thomases, whatever, right? And now they're going to yank International Fight Week on top of it. Like, I feel like it's really alienating a large group of UFC fans. I feel like this is not good. Like, they got to figure out something that they can do to give back to the fans that week, whether if it's a smaller type of thing outside on the strip. They got to do something, because they can't just leave people hanging like this. And the media is just getting rammed up the butt with this one, because I'm sure a lot of people that typically don't go to these other events, but they all pour in International Fight Week, are going to be like, huh, now what do we do? They're all just going to be walking around aimlessly on the streets. All right, ceremonial weigh-ins, and that's it. Like, I mean, we got Power Slap. That's still happening. That's happening.
This does, like, I just thought of it right now. It was kind of like a fleeting thought. I didn't even think it was going to be that big of a deal. I was just kind of throwing stuff out there. But yeah, when I start to think more about Paramount, it's like, it reminds me of there was this one scene in Mad Men, and I just referenced it in a video I made the other day. I don't know why this has been on my mind. There was a scene with Don Draper, and he was telling somebody something along the lines of, when you don't like the narrative or whatever, he's like, just change it. It was something along the lines of, get ahead of the story, you know, shape and frame narratives the way that you need to fit your purposes or whatever. He was a guy in marketing, so that was like his whole life, framing everything just so that it benefited him and his company. And I think about it sometimes, like, it's so weird. Like, one of the best shows of all time, one of my favorite shows of all time, is Seinfeld. And I think it's mind-boggling. You see like a clip of Seinfeld on YouTube, and there's a bunch of these, you know, zillennials or not, you know, even just other people that are just tearing it to shreds, and it's lame, or it's not funny, or whatever. And I'm like, first of all, I feel like this is just rage bait. There's no way that they could mean this. I mean, this is some of the best crafted stuff ever. They just don't know because of the brain rot. They don't know what's good anymore. They'd rather sit there and watch their favorite YouTuber eat a sandwich or something like that. Like, they just don't know what good content is. But my point is, sometimes I think of how fascinating it is that we lived life at a certain point in time where you could watch movies after movies, TV shows, whatever, and you would see it on TV, and that was like the litmus test. That was like, oh, this must be good because it's on TV. These people made it. These people are famous. This is good quality stuff because I'm watching it on TV. Back then, I couldn't watch The Simpsons when I was a little kid, and if I didn't like something, leave a comment on it. It was what it was. And you just had to, as a consumer, be like, well, I guess they know better because they're famous, right? They're on the screen.
Exactly, yeah.
Now you could have some garbage on the screen or a masterpiece, something very well crafted and clever and entertaining, or something that was just, you know, some slop thrown together. No matter what it is, you can comment. You could say that it's amazing. You could be complimentary. You could tear it to shreds. And that gives the consumer so much power, and the consumer could just be a hate watcher. They could just have nothing but hate in their heart and not even have watched the content, but just want to say something negative. And I say all this to say that I think it's something, whether they come out and say this or not, because maybe they never will, because why would they? I feel like it's something worth thinking about in this new Paramount era, that Paramount acquires the UFC. And now they're like, let's change the narrative, and or let's take it away. Why would we put so much power in the hands of these people with microphones, in the hands of these people with keyboards? I feel like it's possible that Paramount is saying, let's pull back a little bit and stop giving all these different little media outlets that just want clickbait articles and titles, making the organization potentially look bad, showing all these people passing out from weight cuts, showing all these brawls that happen behind stage, showing these Masvidal and Leon and Kobe fighting in the parking lot and suing each other. Let's take some of the power out of these people's hands and just show them what we want to. We'll make our own promos. We'll get them in the studio on the sound stage with the cast of Landman. We'll do everything in this perfect little controlled environment bubble. We don't need all these YouTubers and all these people out here trying to put a narrative out there that maybe we didn't get to put a stamp of approval on in the board meeting. That's just where my wheels start turning. Like, this might be a Paramount control thing where they want to start reeling it back in and limiting how many hands are on this product.
Yeah. The thing that really, and by the way, we'll talk about Hamzat and Strickland. This is fight week for that as well. So later on we'll get to that if you guys are interested in hearing about that. But I do think we have to beat this thing to a pulp because there's so much to it. Like, and what Jesse's saying there, it does feel like they're getting their fingers into it too much here. You're looking at the schedule now. This is on their website. It says July 9 through the 12th. It says featuring 329, of course. That's happening on the 11th. It has a UFC Hall of Fame induction. Get rid of that. Who gives a shit about that? Even the media don't want to go that. I don't want to say who said that, but people told me they don't care. They don't honestly care about that. I mean, if Michael Bisping's in the Hall of Fame, who cares, right? But yeah, so you have the Hall of Fame ceremony on Thursday, I think that is. And then it says Power Slap, Zuffa Boxing, and more. Now, guys.
I can't help but wonder what the more is.
It's such a slap in the face. And let me say this, I've been pretty positive about the UFC. I play my tinfoil hat game and I talk about conspiracies, but I always say overall, I thoroughly enjoy the product. And last Saturday, the card that happened in Australia, complete dog shit. Two weeks in a row, dog shit. But I still love their product. You know, it's even fun complaining about some of the shit cards because I know down the road we're going to have the White House. We're going to have, Conor coming back. We're going to have Islam's return. Khamzat this weekend. Very excited about all that stuff. I feel every single time I see Power Slap or Zuffa Boxing, I get slapped in the face as an MMA fan because I signed up for the UFC. When I hear International Fight Week, I know technically to them, that's a Power Slap's a fight. Zuffa Boxing, that's a fight. No. I'm a UFC fan, guys. And this force feeding of Power Slap and Zuffa Boxing, and I've given both a chance. I'm a little cranky today. I got a lot to worry about with this International Fight Week, so give me a second here. With them taking away the UFC Fan Expo and then forcing in Power Slap and Zuffa Boxing is the biggest slap in the face to the UFC fan. The biggest. And there needs to be something done about this. We have to finally take a stand as a fan base. I am sick and tired of saying, oh, well, it's okay. I just won't watch Power Slap. Or Zuffa Boxing, I'll watch Zuffa Boxing 1. Okay, it's not for me. I'll just skip the rest. They're like, okay, they're not watching it, but check it out now. Watch this, but watch that. Here, let's get rid of the Fan Expo, something everyone loves, and let's add it to that because that's what you guys want to see, right? You want to see that, right? You need this, correct? No, we don't. We don't need any of that bullshit. We want the expo. We want the stuff that we love. We want to see UFC fighters, not power slappers or fucking Zuffa boxers. No, we don't want to see that. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of line, Jesse. I mean, but what do you think about this? Like them shoving that shit down our throat constantly.
I think it's like I don't remember if we talked about this before on here, but it's just like when you start a little lemonade stand and there's that face of the company. There's that little innocent kid behind the lemonade stand and everybody loves them and they want to support them. And they're, it's local and homegrown and they're just getting by with the support of the few and the proud, the hardcore people coming by. And that's what the UFC was once upon a time. It was this little thing that everybody thought was too brutal and they didn't even want to be legal. They didn't want to give it a permit to even do its thing. And it starts to get some success here and there. And then it just gets too big. It gets
Mm-hmm.
out of control. Lots of hands get in it, lots of money, lots of business people. And it becomes like this enterprise where it's no longer about the connection of the community anymore and the people that made it what it was. Now it's what can we squeeze and pinch out of this? Let's get as much as possible. I had a job like that before where it was an amazing position. It was an amazing atmosphere and community in the place. Everybody loved each other. It was one of those ones you go out bowling, like team bonding and stuff all the time. And then it was bought by this big company where all they do is make some changes and then sell it for way more money. It just seems like that's what happened to companies when what's the change? It's when what they call going public, right? Is that what usually takes like the heart
Yeah.
and soul out of a company?
Yeah. When it
And
like
that's what
goes,
they
yeah.
did. How many years ago?
Oh my God. When did they go public? That's a good question. But it is true. Well, I think the heart left when they took away sponsorships for the fighters. I think when they signed Reebok, that is when that was everyone's saying the Paramount era. That's not it, guys. That's not it. It was even before, even with the Fertitas, they were trying to find an out. Like a lot of businessmen, or women, whatever. People create something to say, hey, if I ever get bored of this, I'm just going to sell it. Like, I'm just going to sell. I'm going to make a lot of money, this and that. I'm going to ride the wave. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to try to make some money off of this shit, right? And I think that's what was going on here. I think the Fertitta brothers were like, okay, listen, this was fun, but eventually we're going to sell this thing and we're going to move on. And let's get these sponsors. Let's make this thing the biggest thing we could possibly make this. And then let's monetize the hell out of it. Everything in life, I understand you need money. You need money. But money does ruin a lot of things. And with the UFC, we're slowly starting to see, instead of that heart that it did have, like you mentioned, just completely get crushed by the machine. And I know this is not a typical Moss and Jesse show. Usually, MJ, you tune in, you're laughing, right? Yeah, baby. But today is going to be a venting period. And we'll get back on the horse maybe later on in the show. Who knows? But I really ask people in the comment section, just please share this, not because we desperately need it, but I think we need to spread this word here. I think this conversation needs to be had. Not about saying, oh, the UFC is dead and the UFC is this and the UFC is that. No, genuinely, coming from a UFC fan that's been watching the sport for a decent amount of time, both of us, right? We covered it. We built a career, like 10 years of a career around something we truly love. We are speaking from the heart here. You can't take something away just to add something else. If you were to tell me the White House card, listen, what would you rather have? The big hoopla around the White House card, or would you rather have International Fight Week? I would say this. I would say, yeah, you could have the fight card at the White House. That's great. But don't take away, if it means taking away International Fight Week and all that fun that the fans like to watch. Everyone gets jazzed up every single year for years about this. Don't take that away. Take something away from the White House, whether it's during Fight Week. Keep that card intact and keep International Fight Week. Why would you get rid of something that so many fans, like it sells out every year? They keep on increasing the price. So it's not like it's dying, the UFC Expo. It's not like it's dying, but they said, nah, we're going to put our eggs in this basket over here, and you're going to love it. You're going to love everything about it. I don't know. It's just, and then, oh, by the way, power slap and super boxing. It's like, what the fuck?
This might be a dumb question, but
yeah.
is the fight week? I never have paid attention to the location because like I wasn't gonna physically be there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it always in Las Vegas?
Yeah. So International Fight Week it's been going on for years. And it's progressively gotten bigger and bigger. Where it's always been at the UFC, the Vegas Convention Center, which is a massive convention center. And if you, after this, go on YouTube and just kind of check out people like 2025 International Fight Week. I watched Felony Charles Bennett go there and walk around, and it looked so fun, man. Like, he was walking around, the fans were everywhere, everyone was in a great mood. You had, the sponsors that were giving out stuff, the fighters were walking around taking pictures. you had your favorite fighters you could interact with and hang out with. You had these stages where Chael Sonnen and these guys were doing these shows and Q&As with fans, and they would have like interactive like things where you're hitting stuff, winning prizes, getting fighter haircuts. Like, I mean, the kids are there. It's like a complete circus for fight fans that you could tell everyone's genuinely having a good time, right? And to just say we're going to take that away so we can have the White House situation, well, maybe you should have gave us a heads up. Like, say, hey, what would you guys rather? I mean, maybe poll the fans or something like that. Instead of saying, no, we're going to take that away. We're going to do this stuff during the White House card, which people are complaining about. A lot of people are complaining, but that's okay. We're still going to do this. And then, don't worry, you'll have Zuffa boxing and you'll have Power Slap.
Something about, like, I don't know, maybe some people like it, but something about Zuffa boxing feels so like store brand to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's ever a way. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe some people are like, no, dude, if you knew the fighters, you'd love it. It would feel different. Something about it to me seems like it'll never escape that. Just the fact by default that it's under the UFC umbrella. It's always going to feel like some kind of weird alien thing that they were trying to whatever. Even if they get paid the best, even if they get the most views, I don't know. Something just seems kind of bland about it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. When the Zuffa boxing was announced, I thought it was very funny that Dana White was like, oh, now I'm going to take over boxing too. At first, I thought that was great. And then I watched the first event. It looks beautiful, right? Like everything about it, like that they really put a lot of attention in saying, okay, we're going to make this thing look really pretty. But unfortunately, the fights weren't anything spectacular in that first event. And now they had that Muhammad Ali act. Did you see any of that case that happens where like Oscar
Some of it. I didn't really follow it.
So basically the UFC won. Okay. So Zuffa boxing is going to go forward. They're going to do their UFC system within the boxing world, and they're going to slowly dismantle boxing. This is exactly what Dana White wanted to do. He wants to take over everything combat sports, and it's working because Oscar De La Hoya is posting all these videos. He lost. And he is like, now it's basically like Dana White's doing this. He's ruining us. Hey, like pleading boxers, please stay with us. Don't chase him because he's going to screw you, right? They're desperate, and this is bad. Like in the boxing world, and listen, like I'm actually pulling back a little bit here because usually I'm Team Dana, and I'm like, yeah, take over everything. Let's go. Fuck boxing. It's boring. But now I'm starting to see the big picture here. Dana's legit trying to take over every single thing within combat sports and be the top cheese and crush the De La Hoyas and the Eddie Hearns and everyone out there, the match rooms and whatever the boxing organizations are. He's looking to have one belt for each division, crush it all, and it's scary to watch, man. Like, because if you have Dana controlling everything, then there's no competition anymore anywhere. Like, it's like literally he's calling the shots for everything. You like this? Well, here's Power Slap. You like that? Well, we're going to give you this. There needs to be some sort of competition. And man, it's a scary time for fight fans because it's like if you like the UFC, I like the UFC. Are we going to still like it in a couple more years? Is it?
It made me think of him at the thing, not even ducking. Like the guy's just getting too powerful now.
It's crazy. Like it's really weird to see. Now here's the card for International Fight Week. They're assuming that Conor and Max are going to be on here, and I got to be honest with you, I think it's more likely that he is. But it's so strange. How do you have Conor McGregor's return and then remove International Fight Week? Like that's crazy to me. It's literally the return of the Mac. Like, how are we doing this? Like, how does that work? The card looks really good. I mean, you got that Ewing versus Taporia? If this is true, there's no way. This can't be true. That can't be fucking... Wait, hold on. This has got to be a bullshit here. Hold on a second. All right, this is a fan-made thing. Yeah, but dude, this would be fire if it was the case, right? Sandhagen versus Bautista is legit. Pimblett versus St. Denis legit. Gabe Stevenson versus Tabora might actually be a thing. I didn't hear confirmation on that, but that could be a thing. Dude,
I heard somebody... What's that?
No, I was going to say Ewing, that guy Ewing, that psychopath versus Taporia's brother is insane.
Oh, heck yeah. He's staying active, if that's true. I did hear somebody saying that they caught wind
it's pretty nuts.
that Gable Stevenson was going to be fighting somebody that wasn't too high ranked because they just wanted to get people excited and seem kind of obliterate somebody. Mm-hmm. So maybe...
Well, Tabora he's kind of been dropping lately, so that would be interesting. He's kind of a name, but he's been plummeting a little bit. Yeah, let me look this up real quick.
It was somebody saying, like, they were talking about being excited about upcoming fights, and they brought up Gable Stevenson's name. And I remember one of the guys, he was saying it like he couldn't quite say who it was, like if he knew and he didn't want to say the name,
Mm-hmm.
but that it was somebody that wasn't really doing that well and wasn't too highly ranked right now. And they were like,
Okay.
no way, they're not going to do that to Gable. And he's like, yeah, because they want him to really put on a show.
They should
So
do that.
maybe.
Yeah, they should. I mean, that would be good for business for sure. Okay, hold on. I want to see something real quick here. 329. Freedom Fights. I just want to see what Tapology's got on 329. Let's see what they got here. So UFC 329. All right. So, Durden. Oh, that's right. Durden versus Osborne. He's fighting again. Cody's back. That's right. Hell yeah, man.
Again?
Yeah. And O'Day Osborne, they have history, man, of beef between those two. It's pretty funny. Okay, so that's good. So Garcia, so Ryan Ganger versus Zach Reese. Zach Reese, I like that dude. He's a beast. Cesar Almeida versus Damian Pinas. That's a good one. And then we got Saint Denis Pimblett, Sanhagen, Batista, and it looks like Gable's going to be on this. They don't have him 100% here yet. Conor McGregor versus Holloway. Maybe. I don't. So let me ask you a question. Do you think that this is locking that Conor is going to be on the card? Or do you think there's trouble in paradise? And they're saying, let's nuke Fight Week, the thing, because Conor's probably not going to be there.
Man, I've been a big believer in the fact that McGregor is coming back. I know a lot. I don't understand like what excites people about just fighting for the stance that he's never coming back. He's done. You're never gonna see him again. I don't understand that argument. Like, why don't you want to see, even if you hate him, why don't you want to see like, even more so you would think you'd want to see him fight, even if it's just to get knocked out. But I think everything is going according to plan. I just saw him. I saw two videos of him today. I just happened to run into where he was like training. He's doing all these sprints, and this other one where he's fighting with Dong something Kim. He used to be a welterweight in the UFC. Had like a 5-minute sparring session they had on Twitter.
Okay.
Very like there's nothing about him that seems like he's checked out, or like they're having to call audible, or like he's just taking some more time, or partying, or on vacation. The only thing I could think of is if it's some kind of red tape, if there's some kind of problem with a test or something, because he looks like he has every intention of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like he's definitely, I mean, and I think he has 2 fights left in the contract, so it looks like he's got to get those fights in. This way he can do these other novelty things, because I'm sure he wants to do something where it's a crazy another novelty fight, maybe MVP-ish type situation, or BKFC, which he's part of. He might want to do something there to really, I think BKFC makes more sense because he owns some of it. So yeah, I think 100% he's coming back, but I have to be honest with you. I think International Fight Week 2026, where I did think McGregor's coming back for, I am not confident anymore. There's a part of me that's thinking the UFC can't lock this thing down. And International Fight. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he does look big. He still looks big. So if we're thinking about the combo of, it looks like he wants to do it, it sounds like the UFC wants him to do it, what could possibly be the problem? Well, everyone keeps talking about Max Holloway, and I think Conor's too big for him right now. Maybe it's an opponent issue.
I don't know. We're 60, if my math is correct, 68 days, 60-something, under 70 days until the actual fight. And there's not even an announcement of the main event. Now, I would imagine if it is Conor and Max, I would imagine they got the heads up. It's just they're waiting on whatever. They're in a camp getting ready to go. But the fact that we have not heard a damn thing on who's the, like, legit, who is going to be the main event, unless Dana's got this gem waiting to drop soon, which maybe that's the case. Maybe it's done and he's waiting to drop it at the right time. I don't know. But the fact that we haven't heard anything is a little bit of a red flag. And then they yank into like the expo. I mean, I'm blindsided. Now, maybe it's because of my bias. Maybe it's because I just bought all these freaking wristbands. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Is it possible to do like get like a tent, get some tents, and do like do like a MMA Coachella out in the Las Vegas desert?
I'm calling this Holes Fest 2026, this and that. Now here I'm gonna be with 40 fucking MMA holes on the Vegas Strip, just staring at each other with our cocks in our hands, just in wristbands. We're just gonna be staring at each other. Like, now what do we do? Do we get hookers? What do we do now? What happens now?
Oh man. I saw a clip the other day. I think it was Zahibi, the guy that's gonna fight Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, Zahibi.
He was talking with Neon, that streamer, and he was telling him how he still hasn't got a contract and still hasn't signed it. And Neon's like, what?
Really?
You still have? He's like, no, but I trust them. They're good. We'll get it figured out. It's okay. But Neon was like, are you kidding? Like, it's still not official. You haven't signed it. It's not. And he's like, no, it's okay. They gave me their word. So it just kind of shows you how last second everything is, even with the guys that are actually going to be there fighting, putting their health on the line. They don't even know what's going on.
As you say that, got to put it back on for a second here. He hasn't signed the contract, so does this mean they're trying to convince him to take a dive? Like, is that what's taking so long here? It's like, what's the right number for you to fucking fall flat on your face? That's got to be it, right? Like, why does he not have the contract? What's the bit? Like, this guy should be.
Who knows how many people are in this situation? I don't know if any of them have contracts yet. Gaethje found out with all of us that he was fighting there.
They're doing a press conference on Friday. They're literally doing the 250 press conference on Friday. So I'm hoping that imagine he does the press conference. He still hasn't signed the contract yet. They're all going to be on the
ask
stage.
him, are you even fighting O'Malley? He's going to say, we're going to find out Saturday night. He doesn't even know himself yet.
You know what would be great? This would be great. If at the UFC 250 press conference, everyone just asked power slap questions. Like they ask the fighters, like the media gets up. Like that's what I think. Media, we need to take a stand. Everyone that is going to be asking a question on Friday and on Thursday with the Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland, I want all Zuffa boxing and power slap questions. Let's fucking stick it back to the UFC. If every media member does this, what are they going to do, ban all you guys?
They're a bunch of cowards.
They would, right? Everyone, hey. Sean Strickland, I know you got this fight coming up, but who cares? Who do you think about the main event in Power Slap International Fight Week? Right? And then like you'll be hearing the okay, next question. Oh, what you thought about that knockout in Power Slap 76 where that fat slob knocked out the other guy? Remember that? That was great, right? And his ear fucking plug popped out of his ear. Wasn't that cool? What do you think about that, Khamzat? That's what I want to hear. The crowd's silent, like, what? What's going on here? Next question. Okay, what do you think about Zuffa boxing? That's what the media should do. They should go in there and just ask power slap. You want to give us that stuff? Okay, that's all we want to know about. We don't care about 327, 328, 330, I'm so fucking, I got wristbands, man. I got wristbands.
I bought them in bulk.
Sorry.
Gosh.
Dude, we'll delete this stream. This show. I got pins. Jesse, I got.
Oh no.
That pins.
Looks so good.
I got pins. We're just gonna have to go to the Bunny Ranch. Meet up at the Bunny Ranch.
Do you think you could use all of those bracelets in some kind of makeshift way to hang yourself and then
next to Bruce
somehow
Buffer?
blame it on Dana White and try to guilt him?
You know what I want to do?
And then post posthumously, so you'll guilt him, then they'll do the expo, and then all the MMA hoes will be there in your honor.
The headline's going to be MMA YouTuber Pioneer found dead hanging from a ceiling fan in a power slap shirt and Zuffa boxing gloves. I'll show them. I'll fucking show them, man.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so mad. Like, I don't know if I can't even be a joyous man right now because it's just like, what the heck's going on here? Like, I don't know. And I feel like there's so many people that should be upset about this. Anyone that's bought a ticket, all the media members that spent money saying, yeah, I'm going to be there. They're all pumped, man. They love International Fight Week. They love that media. They feel special. Radio Row. They just said, nah.
The two biggest problems here is there's like two kinds of people there. The first kind of people, they should be upset, but they have no voice. They're not going to be heard. And even if they have a YouTube channel, where each of them have their own YouTube channels with a significant amount of followers, and you would think that they would come here and trickle in and watch, that they still, even if they have, a channel that nobody's watching right now and they put their voice out there, no one's going to hear it.
No one's going to hit the like. Yeah.
The other route is they are, someone that's up there and has a name. They're Brett Okamoto or whatever. They're not going to ask the hard questions because they don't want to lose their credentials. Yeah. That's their whole livelihood. So either you have no voice, no one's going to hear, no one's going to care anyway, or you're too afraid to speak up. So they get away with all of this. And there's no pushback because they just won't have it. They don't care. They want to take the voice away because, it's just the way it is. This is the community that we operate in, but there could be some strong feelings and some negativity and pushback from time to time. And maybe the UFC and Paramount said, let's just not have that. Let's just phase it out. Let's not give them anything to work with. Let's silence them.
Do you think, wow, now you say this, got me thinking. Do you think they canceled it because of the MMA holes? Do you think like they're fucking coming? We got to stop this. We got to stop this. Do you think they were so scared that they were like, for the first time in years, we will not have International Fight Week because Holes Fest 26 was going to be taken. This is going down on July 10th. It's been promoted. People are buying T-shirts. I got T-shirts being sold, wristbands bought, plane tickets. We're all going to be there. Do you think that they're like, there's not enough of security that can protect from Holes Fest 2026?
I think that's it. Just like the Beast movie. How everybody thinks, like when you think of like a Hollywood film or something, everything just seems so larger than everything seems so larger than life. And then we get there and it's like, oh, it's not that grandiose. It was cool, but it's like, oh, this is actually kind of modest and just not a gigantic, overwhelming thing. I think a lot of people would think of the UFC Expo like, this is crazy, this is big time, this is, but then when you're actually there on location, just like you've seen with certain footage, it's like, hey, there's just another person just like me, just holding a microphone and just kind of walking around. It's like, oh, dang, like there's this guy that there's Luke Thomas, like right here.
Look how big your hand got, by the way. Just do that real quick. Hold on. Wait, put it a little bit this way, closer to the camera, into the camera a little bit. Dude, that is a big hand, dude. What the fuck? Holy shit. Okay, good.
Exactly. That's my point right there. The perception is everything. So I what I'm trying to say is I feel like we kind of oversell a lot of these things. They're like, oh, this is crazy. But it's like, when you're there, you're just another human being with the microphone. And it's like, oh, shoot, there's Conor McGregor. There's the Schmo. And it's like they're right there. And it's kind of like, you realize you could just get to somebody so easy. Like, you think they're so far, like worlds apart, but let's say you wanted to throw a tomato at, Dana White. He's right there. So what I'm getting at is, if there was going to be some kind of a movement and there was going to be a group of people like all of one accord,
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of like the same mindset. There's this ragtag kind of people. They have this certain aura or whatever. Now it's like, whoa. This is the thing where if you just run up, you could just kind of like talk to this person, that person that you're used to only seeing behind the screen. And now they're right there. And then when you think of like this overwhelming group of a bunch of people, you don't know what they're going to do. It's like, no, we don't even want to mess with that. So if they caught wind of it, and we know.
We canceled
We that's what they did?
They canceled because of us. Yeah, 100. I'm convinced.
Yeah,
that.
you canceled. Yes. Because we know that.
Nina Drama made a call.
Trying to think of what I want to say here. We know that numbers aren't always indicators of, you know, how good your content is or who's actually watching you.
But they physically show up, right? If they physically show up in droves.
Yes, and you know that they watch you. We know that people watch us because of things we say and that we hear people regurgitate. So we know that there's eyes on us, even if the numbers don't always look that impressive and overwhelming. So
let's leave the Moss and Jesse show out of this.
So I think it's very possible, and I think that some people might act like they think it's just being silly or whatever. But I 100% believe that's a possibility, because if you get a good amount of bodies there,
mm-hmm.
And maybe they get a certain kind of vibe, you know, like this is like a hardcore channel. These guys, you know, they're going to come bring the carnage to the event. Oh. They might be like, heck no, we don't want to mess with this. We don't even like when someone gets on. Remember like that dude that got on the microphone when Conor McGregor was going to fight Eddie Alvarez, and it ended up being a fan, and he was like in a tie, and he starts talking trash to Eddie Alvarez, and Conor McGregor was all laughing. Even that, they're like, oh yeah, get this guy in here, get the microphone. Like they don't want none of that. So imagine a whole group of MMA hoes. They're like, no, we're not even gonna play around with this.
What if I see? This is why I like to do things on the fly, because I like the way you're cooking over here. And now I'm cooking a little bit too. I'm thinking about something. What if? All right, no UFC Expo, fine. We go outside of the ceremonial weigh-ins and we pick it, right? We pick it. We have signs up in the air, right, saying that we stopped the UFC Expo. We are the ones that stopped it. We all have signs. It's not even like we're boycotting or we're not doing any of that. We're throwing a party. So I want to invite everyone from the MMA halls, Mexican martial arts, the MJ show. I want to invite everyone. This is a cordial invite. I want to see you outside the ceremonial weigh-ins. I'm going to be there leading the charge. I may or may not be wearing this. Okay, you might see Ariel Hawani or whatever. I may or may not be wearing this just for, But anyway, if you see this, just don't be alarmed. But anyway, I say we all stand outside the ceremonial weigh-ins and say we stopped the UFC Expo. We were the ones. We are the reasons that we took it down. I think that's what we should do. And we should all band together as UFC fans, and we should cause the biggest scene. I will go live from outside that expo, and I will cause a ruckus and say, maybe we'll all wear Zuffa boxing shirts. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a Zuffa boxing match in the parking lot. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? But I think we should cause a scene. We should be heard, and I think everyone should like and subscribe to this show, because you're missing out if you're not.
I was talking about it before on my channel, but I think you're a channel that could actually like execute on something like this. Maybe you could make like a parody shirt, like instead of power slap, it could be power clap, and you could have like a twerking contest. If you guys could do that.
I tell you what, I've been making Holes Fest shirts, and I feel bad because people have been buying them, but I think the way now is to make We Stop the Expo. Like, we have to have that shirt. We Stop the Expo shirts need to be made. It needs to happen. We kill the UFC. Something. We got to come up with something clever. And if you guys can give me ideas in the comments, I'd really appreciate that, because I think we need to make a fucking statement here. We need to be heard. Not just clickbaity, hey, UFC is dead. That card was so whack. Oh my God, UFC, it's terrible. No, not that. The fact that the UFC took away something we loved. It's like canceling Christmas, you know? Could you imagine? The kids come downstairs, they go to the tree, nothing there. Nothing. Just a dead Santa Claus on the floor.
I think the worst part, see, at least with the dead Santa Claus, you have some closure.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
true.
That's
Yeah.
I think just like with the animal, like when one of their posse dies or something, you're supposed to let them look at it so they can move on and be like, all right, he's dead. And they're not looking for him in the winter and stuff like that. I mean, the worst part of this whole thing is, and maybe they will, but how long are they going to wait? People have to book flights and figure out travel and stuff like that. The worst part is they didn't even say anything. They didn't give any kind of reason, no kind of closure. Like, at what point, if you just found out about this today, yesterday, if you just found out about this, when were they planning on telling everybody else that's coming from like across the country, from across the world? What's the plan?
A lot of people got tickets, a lot of people. And what they're going to say is, well, we never announced the fight, so what's the big deal? No, it says International Fight Week. It says it on the site. Now, they have cleverly said no expo, but in the lead up, the last couple weeks, it did say 2024, 2023, 2025, the Expo 2026 is scheduled. And they even said in the Google search, now it's not saying that anymore, but when I made up Holes Fest and all this bullshit, it said July 10th is when the Fan Expo should be taking place, right? So that was the targeted date to have it at the Vegas Convention Center.
So it said up until when you were barely putting this together, they were doing the expo.
Okay, so the UFC did not exactly say it, but it said it on Google, right? So they're just assuming, okay, the fights are the 11th, the 10th would be the expos, right? And I did find it a little alarming, like saying, okay, where's the main event? Why are they not saying anything about this? And why aren't they selling tickets for this expo? I did find that a little strange, but they've been doing it every single year for many years. I was like, okay, well, this is just going to happen, right? I mean, this is what the fans are waiting for. But I think that's what they're going to say. Hey, we never said the expo was definitely
It is
happening.
weird that Google would have had it, though, because Google isn't like sentient. Like, it would have pulled that metadata from something.
You would think, yeah.
Because it's just a search engine. It would have pulled from, it would have had to, that would have to be like real, actual, which I still don't think we even have access to. That would have to be like actual artificial intelligence for Google to take it upon itself to assume that it was also doing an expo on this day.
Yeah.
So it seems like they had to pull that from somewhere.
You would think
that it was going to be a certain day this year.
Yeah, you would think. You would think. It's very strange. I honestly, if I'm the media, I would ask more questions about that. Like we got 2 press conferences coming this weekend. Guys, like, get to work, man. Like, ask the real questions. Okay, hey, we're having the UFC 5th, whatever the hell, the White House card. We're having this great event this weekend. Why no expo this year? Like, hey, Dana, can you give me some update on this? Is this hurt the main event? Like, ask these questions.
Let's role play. Okay, can you ask me? Be the good interviewer, and I'm Dana White.
Okay. Hey, Mystical Moss from the MJ Show. How's it going, Dana?
Yeah.
Is it true? Question. Is it true that the MMA holes canceled the UFC 2026 Expo?
The MMA who?
The MMA holes. King of the Dragons, Mystical Moss, 10 years strong.
No, never heard of them. No.
Okay. Is it true? Follow-up question. Thank you for taking this question. Have you ever had sexual relations with Nina Drama?
What? Huh? I guess it doesn't work. I guess
fucking prison.
Oh shit! They cut his mic. Oh.
What the heck? What happened? What? Are you trying to use the force?
Help!
Look what you did to him, Dana.
They roughhoused me. They kicked me out. That's what would happen.
Okay, now be Brett Okamoto and ask me about Fight Week.
I saw. Is he Asian? What is he?
he's got to be halvesies. I believe so. Halvesies.
Who's winning, Khamzat Chimaev or Sean Strickland?
I gotta go with Chimaev.
I'm picking Chimaev too.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I gotta go with Chimaev. Yeah. I was just trying to do a thing last time, and I realized stop being silly because I don't want to be annoyed when Chimaev actually wins. So I'm gonna go with Chimaev. I'll break it down in a future video.
Aquí everybody.